Who's your backup quarterback right now?
Yeah, that's unsettled. It's
Shocker.
it's day to day, but the promising thing is that there's been great competition with everybody else that's been getting reps, and that's everybody from Ashton to Rocco to Nate Glantz, and I'm excited about that group because they work at it every single day, and they've done a really good job of taking what we've installed and having some good things happen and some bad things happening too, but learning from it and going to the next day and responding and coming back and competing. But I'm excited about that group right now.
Have you seen Rocco grow since the spring?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think for him, man, that was as beneficial as it could have ever been, for a quarterback here. He got a lot of reps in the spring, and he worked really hard from the end of spring practice to the beginning of fall camp, and that was apparent. There were so many little things that he was uncomfortable with, even at the end of spring practice. And the beginning of fall camp, it was like, man, there's been a big, growth, for him, and I think he's been really comfortable, much more so than the spring, and he's hungry to keep working and getting better. So, yeah, there's definitely been a big benefit for him to be here in the spring.
With both of those guys having fathers with extensive NFL backgrounds, what does that mean for them?
I think they've just probably been exposed to just football in general, their whole life, whether it's been going to, practice for Rocco and his dad was playing, something like that, going to games. But Rocco's dad was a coach, Ashton's dad was a coach, and I think that goes a long way just for a quarterback because you learn, how a quarterback is supposed to lead and how he's supposed to act. And I think, they learn that at a young age from their fathers, and, you can't have a substitute for that, growing up with those fathers. They're awesome.
What's with Rocco? Does he bring a little bit maybe different dimension from some of those other QBs? I mean, he seemed really mobile and extended plays a lot in the spring. I mean, what's he kind of bring?
Yeah, I think his skill set is probably, if you were going to compare him to someone, probably more like Brock. He's kind of built the same way, and his skill set is very similar. He probably has some work to do for sure as far as becoming the runner that Brock was. Brock was a really good, runner when he had the ball in his hands. But yeah, he brings a nice skill set to the table where he can be out of the pocket and be in the pocket and do a lot of things.
2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it is, from the opener. Is Hunter now just refining, or is he still learning, or what's going on?
Sure. Yeah, he's learning every day, and this is his third training camp, and you have to give him a ton of credit for what he's put into it and learned in his time that he hasn't been the starting quarterback. And he is very in touch with everything that we're doing, not just what he's supposed to do, what everybody on the field is doing. And he's really confident because of that. But he's had a heck of a camp so far. But he still makes mistakes. There's no doubt about it. The shoes that he's in right now are a little bit different. Obviously he took over in the spring as the number one guy, but coming into training camp, it's a little bit of a different feel. And we've put a lot on his plate to kind of stress him and see how much he can handle. But he's refining some things for sure, learning new things every single day, and it's always a work in progress, and he'll have to get into the season, and there's going to be a lot of things yet to learn once we get rolling too.
Is there a dimension of his game that's underrated, or maybe fans haven't seen as much of?
Well, they haven't seen too much of him, at all. But no, I think he has the ability to be, the total package. He has the ability to throw the football in the pocket, on the move, extend plays. He can run. He's been a good runner since he's been here. He's proven that, in the little bit of time that he's had. But, I think it's going to be exciting for everybody, outside the program to really see him on the field for a full game and to see what it looks like. But he's going to be fun to watch, got a lot to learn, but I'm excited about him.
What have you liked from Ashton's progression since the spring?
Much like Rocco, he's more confident. You know, he hadn't had a ton of reps in last year's training camp, and really the spring was really slow for him early on. Probably, you know, if you ask him, he probably started a little bit slow. And then he just kept coming, and he kept getting better and learning more and getting more confident, more comfortable in what we were doing. And by the end of the spring, he was a completely different player than what he was, you know, in spring practice 1 and 2. And he, like Rocco, all those guys, man, they worked really hard in May and June and July, and just walking into the first practice, the expectation of, you know, coming into his second training camp, I think, he knew what it was going to be like, and yeah, he's more confident for sure.
What does Nate bring to that backup quarterback competition?
Yeah, he's a man. He's a guy that has a strong arm. He's a really good runner. You know, when he has a chance to pull the football down and run with it, and he's capable of extending plays and you know, turning a broken play into something big. So he brings that element for sure.
I apologize if you were asked this, but Rocco, being the son of an NFL guy, did he come onto campus with almost like a professional mentality because his dad could tell him how to go about doing what he does?
Yeah, I think he knows just from growing up underneath his dad as a player, and then as his dad, you know, kind of moved into a coaching role his senior year. You know, he was raised, you know, by Anthony, you know, in a manner where this is, hey, you're going to play quarterback, and not just quarterback. Like, he's a great human being. He's a high character kid, and you know, he's been awesome since he's been here. So there hasn't really been any kind of, you know, work that we've had to do to, you know, mold him into, you know, a Cyclone. He walked in the door. He knew he was going to have to work hard. He knew he was going to have to compete and earn everything he got, and I'm sure he got that from his dad, you know, his whole life.